Revelation 796. From the 5th of March 1939. Opportunities to mature. World affairs. Spiritual thinking. Unimagined possibilities have been offered to people and will still be offered to them in the future, which are supposed to cause the spirit of man to be able to unite completely with God already on earth, and an increase of the spiritual abilities will be achieved in the same measure as the possibilities are used. That is, man can do everything himself to reach perfection, because he is now in the realization which gifts are available to the spirit, by means of which he can become more and more perfect. To be ignorant means at the same time to be incapable of taking care of further development, but he who stands in knowledge is able to explore the power, to take it into his own possession and to work through this power. The erudition on earthly domain is already profitable in earthly sense. How much more success must the spiritual knowledge about things therefore bring, and how inexhaustibly therefore the spirit of man can draw benefit from such knowledge. His spiritual goods will increase many times over, and what unimaginable advantages can be enjoyed by that person who makes use of all the possibilities that are offered to him only for the purpose of spiritual further education. The more visibly the success becomes apparent, the more it will again be an incentive for ever more diligent striving in this field, and so it is therefore much easier for that person to advance who looks at everything that life brings him in the spiritual sense, who looks at nothing with earthly eyes and draws conclusions which are often quite erroneous, but always and everywhere presupposes and recognizes authorization from above, and now seeks to fathom what was indeed decisive for the divine Creator to have an effect on people in just this way and not otherwise. As a human being, he will never be able to understand the profound wisdom of God, and many world events will remain incomprehensible to him, but if his mind is only spiritually attuned, he will also have complete trust in divine guidance, by virtue of which he will unhesitatingly acknowledge the foreordination. Everything depends on the will of man. If he wants to penetrate spiritually into many a question, he will also receive a spiritual answer. But if he only tries to fathom the earthly world events as it is, he will encounter inexplicable contradictions everywhere and will finally break himself at the seemingly incomprehensible permissions of the divine Creator. And this then leads to unconscious rejection of a deity who directs and guides the whole universe. But how should man be able to understand the rule and work of God, if he does not make the slightest effort to think spiritually? Only he who draws from the source of eternal truth, who awakens the divine in himself to life and gives it full freedom to explore through his will, and thus enriches his knowledge, he truly has no need to brood over earthly events and permissions, because the solution of such questions will become clear to him very soon. He will understand that it cannot be otherwise at all on this world, if its inhabitants shall likewise be directed into the realm of the spiritual. The final purpose of all life on earth and in the whole universe, is and remains that the being frees itself from all matter which adheres to it, both in thought and form. But this is achieved only by the one whose spirit desires the height, who seriously makes use of all possibilities which are offered to him to reach the state of maturity, who brings everything in connection with the necessary purification of the soul and tries to help it as far as possible to get rid of its fetters. What moves the earth at present, is, spiritually regarded, of greatest necessity. All struggle, all suffering and all injustice must be fought through and endured, because the human soul, which is in extreme distress, should be aroused to free thinking. And this thinking should turn upward, into the spiritual realm. It should turn away from the world and all earthly interests. Only then will the misery subside and life on earth become bearable for people. Amen.